Hi, welcome to the Mike Paige Doodle Club. I'm Mike Paige, and today we're going to do a drawing for the holidays. So today we'll be doing a Christmas tree. So grab a pen and paper or a pencil and paper and follow along. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They happen, you just gotta roll with them. It's 2020, we're doing this. So to make a Christmas tree, or any kind of pine tree really, the basic shape that I'm going for is a nice cone-shaped triangle. Cone-shaped triangle. So very lightly, I can make a straight line down. You don't have to do this, but I'll do it just as a reference point. And then as I go, I'm going to want to do this pretty scribbly. The faster you do it, the more character it'll have and the more it'll look like an actual tree. So I'm just going to do quick scribbles, and everything is going to come out from this center point, whether you drew the center line or not. And I'm going to go ahead and jump way down to the bottom too, just to kind of make what the base of my tree will look like. And that way I know how far out each chunk of branches should be going to get more or less a triangle. So something about like that. Once I have my basic shape done, I'm going to go in and everything's just going to be quick scribbles coming out from the center point. And I say scribbles, but they're kind of controlled scribbles. So I'm thinking about where the branch is. So this here will be a branch, but then I'm making that branch by making some small scribbles outward. So if you're picturing pine needles growing from a branch, they're kind of, if you're looking from far away, they look a little bit scribbly, and that's how I like to draw them. When you're doing a tree like this, it's usually less is more will work. So if you tried to draw in every last branch and every last pine needle, it probably wouldn't end up looking quite as good as if you do it just sort of quick and scribbly like this. And I think I might add some ornaments as I get lower, but I haven't put in any ornaments quite yet. And then as you go, you can just kind of fill in, like this area looks a little sparse. And when you're picking out a Christmas tree, of course, some people go for the Charlie Brown tree that's kind of scraggly looking, but most people, I think, go for the fuller trees that aren't quite so sparse. So I'm going to kind of fill in where I need to. If you want to make ornaments as you go, you certainly can. You could also put some garland on the tree if you wanted by making some droops. I'm going to wait on all of that stuff until the end because I want to have a tree before I try to decorate it. That's probably what you guys do too. So again, everything is just quick, scribbly branches coming out. As I get to the middle here and I'm making branches coming towards me, they'll be maybe slightly V-shaped here. I'll do one down here so you can see it a little better. So I'm thinking kind of in a V shape, and again, just making controlled scribbles. And then the more outward branches, obviously, I'm just sort of doing this. I'm pretty sure I did an episode one time teaching how to draw flowers, a bouquet of flowers. This is kind of the same technique as that. It's also how I draw most trees, bushes, anything like that. Real quick, controlled scribbles is usually the best technique for that. Because again, if you tried to draw in every single pine needle and every single branch, somewhere along the way you're really going to mess up the proportions, or you'll kind of forget what you're doing, or you'll leave out a whole chunk of the tree. But if you just do quick scribbles to make a pine tree or a bush or whatever, it tends to work a bit better. So I made this tree very tall, so it's taking me a little while to fill it all in. If you made your tree smaller on the paper, you probably long since finished yours and you're wondering what's taking me so long. I apologize. And again, I'm kind of filling in any areas that are looking a little sparse. You can fill in, or you could wait until you're decorating your tree and add ornaments to cover some of those more sparse areas. But I did make a tall tree. This is kind of a Clark Griswold tree right here. Hopefully it fits in the house that it's going in. I was at a tree farm last weekend, and I was laughing because I realized that every guy that was there was telling his wife or significant other, whoever he was with, every guy was saying they needed the bigger tree, and every woman that I saw there was talking sense into them and saying that tree is way too big. And it seems to be a universal problem among men that we always want the bigger tree, and we're convinced it'll fit. We've all pulled the Clark Griswold with a Christmas tree at some point. Now I'm going to start making this bottom area a little more full because I'm noticing it's starting to look a little too sparse down near the bottom. I'm just putting in some more scribbles to fill in this whole area. And then once you get your tree finished, you'll probably want it to be standing in a tree stand. And you can decide, some people put their tree in a tree skirt. I just have a nice iron stand that mine sits in at my house. So I'm going to make kind of a dog collar shape right here. So it's basically a rectangle that's slightly rounded, just as a sort of a cuff around the trunk. And then from that, I'm going to make a few lines out. Sorry, that should only be one line there, two, and we'll make a third line over here. And then I'm just going to connect those for my tree stand. And then I'm going to make 3 very short lines down and go across again to put some depth on the tree stand. That's what my stand looks like. Yours might look a little different. You can also put the little screws here to hold the tree in place. Again, you might have a tree skirt on your tree. If so, you could just make sort of a quick loose blanket shape. Then I'm going to go in, and I'm noticing a few empty spots in here that I want to fill in. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll decorate the tree. That's always the fun part of any Christmas tree, is adding decorations to it. So I'm going to start with some ornaments. Just put circles wherever you want ornaments. Try to make them different sizes, unless you want one of those very magazine type trees where every ornament is exactly the same. I know on my tree I have a lot of different types of ornaments. A friend of mine asked me the other day, since I make ornaments, she asked why I have none of my own ornaments on my tree. It's actually a really good question. But my answer is that I'm making ornaments for other people. I don't want my ornaments on my tree. My hero growing up, you might have heard me talk about him before. My hero growing up was Jim Sebring, and he made star ornaments. I'm going to make one of his right here. So on my Christmas tree, I have a ton of little wooden stars, and those are my favorite ornaments. So the reason I don't have my own ornaments is my tree is mostly Jim Sebring ornaments, whether they're stars or some of his carved Santas and faces. But that's a Christmas ornament to me. And I think the beauty in Christmas ornaments is that everybody has their favorite ornaments, and every ornament on a tree has a story behind it. I say that if you just go out and buy a 12-pack of ornaments at a store, those don't really have a story. But any ornament that you bought at a special place or for a specific event, those all have a story behind them. And I think that's why so many people love decorating a Christmas tree, is it brings back all those memories, whether it's of your childhood or something special that happened as you were an adult. Getting all sentimental here. We'll put some more little star ornaments. And then you're going to want a tree topper on your ornament as well. I have a star on mine, but you could make whatever kind of topper you've got. So I'll put a little star up here, starting like I'm going to make a letter A. And I'm going to make the same shape sideways twice. And now like I'm making a V twice. And there's our tree. If you want to put some gifts underneath, I'll just make a basic kind of cube-shaped box. I think this one's leaning slightly because of my angle. I apologize. I'll try to stand it up a little more. There we go. And for this, if you wanted to do the old ice cube trick that you might have learned in 6th grade or whatever, you could always start off like that if you're using pencil. And we can shade it in a little real quick if you want. And we can put a bow on it. Just 2 tall rectangles there and a wide rectangle right here. And another one going across the top, and it's just, remember to stay parallel to those other lines you've got there. And then if you want it to be a fancy bow, you can add sort of the shoelace top to it. I'm just going to do 2 little loops there. Now, so this was a slightly longer drawing of a tree. I'm going to show you real quick right next to it how to make it much faster. So I started at the top on this one. If I start, well, we'll start at the top again. But this time I'm just going to do it super quick, and I'm just coming out like this. This time I'm only drawing the outline of it first. And I'm going to make basically a scribbled triangle. These are like a bunch of almost M shapes. It's kind of like if you ever pretended to write in cursive as a kid before you actually knew cursive. That's basically what I'm doing here. So you're just going to scribble the outline and then scribble across the bottom, again, kind of like you're doing cursive. And the looser you keep it, the better it'll probably look. Then I'm going to fill it in, and I'm kind of going to do it in rows, sort of doing chunks here. And again, it's all just real quick scribbles. And if I was decorating it, I'd want to make some ornaments now, so I know where not to scribble. So when I did this one, I just filled in black ornaments so they would go right over the lines. But if you wanted to be coloring it in ornaments, you'll want to add some wherever you'd like them. A great way to do this also is if you're using a green marker, obviously. These scribbles go really quickly, and you can get it done pretty fast. I really love the Crayola Super Tips. They've got a fine point to them, but you can also kind of use the side and get a slightly wider line, a wider stroke. So those are really good, cheap markers to get a job like this done in a hurry. And it's a kind of marker that most people have sitting around their house. If you don't have them, use whatever you've got. Colored pencils, pen, marker, anything will draw well. It's like, I think a lot of times people, as they get older, they forget that you don't need fancy stuff to make art. Like I remember my friend on the school bus would always draw on the window on the fog, and I'm sure you probably either did it yourself or know someone that did it. But that's the kind of thing you can make art wherever you are. You don't need fancy stuff to do it. The important thing is that you're creating something. Anytime you can make something that wasn't there before you started, that's always cool. So this one, instead of doing a tree stand, I'll do kind of the, what is that called? The blanket at the bottom? I'm blanking now. But anyway, I'm going to swaddle my tree here with a little blanket. There we go. So there's the second scribble tree. So two different ways of making a Christmas tree. They both come out kind of the same way. The important thing is you're thinking of a basic triangle shape and then remembering that it is a round cone shape. So the branches are kind of curved slightly and they'll be lower towards you here because the tree is actually a cone. All right, I hope you enjoyed following along and drawing a Christmas tree with me. If you made any mistakes, try it again. The second one always comes out better. Also, you can color them in. Mine is kind of bland and black to demonstrate. If you've got markers, make it colorful, bring it to life. Happy holidays, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
All right, kids, now that you've finished your doodles, color them in and then share them with both Mike Paige and Medfield TV. We're going to take those images and we're going to put them all over our station. Can't wait to see what you guys make.